One. Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Business Basics with Action Coach Campus. My name is Lee Iben. I'm the host, but today I'm very privileged to have with us today Steve Brock, all the way from Greensboro, North Carolina. Steve, first of all, welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Lee. A pleasure to be here.
And Steve, like I said, I'm probably going to massacre this, but tell us, you're an ML with Action Coach. You have coaches working for you in your firm. But just because you can't sleep at night, you decided to open up a couple other businesses at least. Is that right? Give me the background on that, Steve.
That is correct, my friend. So I grew up in a family business in Chicago, came down to Carolina, in 95. So I guess it's been 26 years. Been involved with Action Coach for 20 years, or almost 20. And then about 5.5 years ago, we opened up a Mosquito Joe.
Okay.
And this year we opened a plumbing company, and we've got little pieces of other stuff that are not relevant. So
yeah, right. But always got your hands in business, either coaching business owners and also living what you preach.
That's exactly right.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you and I have that unique perspective. My wife and I had our pediatric dental practice for 20 years, did not have a coach, I didn't even know what to call it then, Steve. I mean, I just wished there would have been somebody that I could have partnered with that could just give me advice and recommendations for just that day-to-day nitty-gritty that we put up with.
Sure.
Yeah, and I didn't want it to be my accountant. I didn't want it to be my lawyer. I didn't want it to be my loan officer at the bank. Who are the big three I had to go to, right? Who knew?
That's right.
Yeah.
All very good at looking back or shielding you from the future of bad things, but not much on growth and development.
Isn't that the truth? So, Steve, when you and I were together a week ago in Des Moines, you had mentioned that you are a Default Diary Zealot.
Yes, sir.
I love that. In fact, my current clients and I were talking more and more about our default diaries, and honestly, it has taken them a year to realize the benefits of a default diary. So could you spend a few minutes and just talk to us about that?
Yeah, so there's a few things I like to do, Lee, especially as some of the learnings I had as I rolled it out.
Yeah.
I am a soccer junkie. So in my default diary, I did not need to watch my favorite team play soccer. In fact, I don't need to put in there watch sports at all because it's something that I enjoy doing.
Right.
What I do need to put in my default diary, though, are things that I know that I should be doing but would prefer not to.
Yeah.
And when I think about business owners, usually they're great at what the business delivers, but not great at running the business that delivers it. So these are the kind of things that would make sense to put into a default diary. Mm-hmm. So I have to schedule 3 hours of marketing every week. I've got 3 sales call blocks every week. Mm-hmm. I've got an invoicing component every day for the Mosquito Joe business that I have to do.
Right.
So I just put in things it's almost like a reminder to make sure I get the work done and I don't give myself the opportunity to blow it off.
Right.
So there are 2 learnings that came to me out of making a default diary. Number 1, you can have all the time you need in the world to get all the things you need to get done. Mm-hmm. You just have to be willing to be efficient about it and then be open-minded enough to say, if I can pay someone $10 an hour to do it, I probably shouldn't be doing it if I can replace that with higher value activity.
Right.
Right. So if you look at right now, we really went down the path of whether it's your favorite barista, whether it's someone that's dropping kids off at 9 to pick them up at noon, there's a lot of resources out there that can take care of some of those important but not super valuable tasks.
Right.
So that was one thing I had to get my head around and then be willing to spend the money to do it and make sure that I replaced it with higher value activity. Mm-hmm. The second thing I wanted to make sure I did was not try to plan every hour of every day because I knew right away that would drive me bananas. Mm-hmm. So I started out by saying, let me plan 8 hours a day in my default diary, and then I'll grow it to 12 and I'll grow it to 16. And that's really where I stopped. So I stopped at default diary of 2 days. And then the third thing I made sure that I did is that I would have a block on a certain day, and I could move that block earlier or later within that same day, but I couldn't move it off the day.
Right.
And that was the real discipline check. Right? Mm-hmm. So I used to be in operations before being with Action Coach, and we used to run warehouses, and you get on these cycle counting programs, which just basically meant, do you have the inventory that you think you have? And every day go out and count 20 items and then correct them if need be. And what would happen is that we would get behind and we would get behind and we would get behind. And so one day we just look at each other and smile and say, it all looks fine. We'll catch it on the next go around. So it kept us from doing the activity we needed to do by rolling it forward.
Right.
And what I realized was that I would do the same thing for things that I hated doing. So my discipline has to be on the same day, unless there's vacation or some weird thing that happens. I can't roll it forward.
Right. You know, we just had this talk this morning with one of our clients, and it's kind of like when our default diary is part of our processes, and when we take on that attitude that you just expressed, it's no different than if we go to our doctor and he says you have cancer and you have to make an hour every day for chemotherapy.
Right.
By God, we're going to do it or we're going to die.
Absolutely.
I mean, and when we look at our processes and our default diary within our business, we have to have that same mentality.
Absolutely.
We do it or our business will die.
It will. And you can take it, you can even take it up a notch. Like if you were to miss that chemotherapy appointment, you should be furious with yourself for doing it, because it's going to impact your family and the other people you love.
Right.
If people start wasting your time, I am furious with them, like taking up valuable time that I should be doing something else with.
Right.
So hold yourself accountable to that same kind of anger that you would give to someone else that was wasting your time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we just have to take this full circle. I mean, understand the gravity, the importance of this, of working on our business, on ourselves. So because that is really the only way that our businesses are going to improve.
That's it. Right. I mean, otherwise we're just spinning our wheels.
Right. Right. We have a default diary for the business. We have one for ourselves. We maybe have one for the leads of our team.
That's it. In fact, everyone in the company should have some kind of default diary that they're striving to accomplish.
Right.
To make sure that you're knocking out, you hear about put in the rocks, and then you put in the pebbles, and you put in the sand, and you put in the water, and that's how you can keep filling things up. Right. Make sure those rocks are the things that are drivers for the business.
Right. The aha moment, I think, this morning for my client was when he was looking at it and it was sinking in. He said, I could use one of these default diaries for each one of my staff members, and I could have them record what they do exactly each day. I was like, yes. And now you've got the footings for a positional agreement.
Absolutely.
They are going to tell you what they're doing, and take it one step further, compare all of them side by side and look for duplication.
So we do a fun exercise, Lee. I don't know if you had this as one of your questions for today, but when we do Business Rich, we actually have them do a 2-week time study. And then we have them get 3 markers, green, yellow, and pink, because they don't make red highlighters. At least I don't think they do.
Right.
And they have to go in color code: green things they know they made them money, pink things they know didn't make them money, and yellow they're not sure.
Okay.
And when they look back from that visual, what we usually find is that they had to buy 2 pinks, because they used the first one up in the coloring.
Absolutely.
And then you can say, hey, if I can reallocate this 15 hours into either talking to customers or finding new customers, or if you're like me, desperately in need of golf lessons, I mean, anything else is going to be better than doing activity that doesn't make you money.
That's right. Oh, I love that. I will steal that from you, Steve. I love that. I love that very much. All right, we're going to wrap this up, but I like to ask everybody I speak with, you included, over the past 20 years, what's your big nugget? What's your biggest learning as a business owner?
So it's going to sound cliche, but the harder I work on myself, the better the business gets.
Yeah, define that.
And having the ongoing learning, the discipline to do so. It's the discipline of acquiring knowledge. It gives you the ability to be flexible with your time and to focus your attention on the important things.
Right. That's so true, and especially with our default diary. I think the term in insurance is, if it's easy to do, it's easy not to do, right? So as a business owner, I got all kinds of flexibility, which is also great, but bad, because I still have to discipline myself, and we need to discipline ourselves on becoming more intelligent business owners.
That's it. And just make that commitment to yourself. So one block in my default diary is ongoing learning. Actually, I have that block in there 3 times a week, as well as a coaching session with myself so I can plan the next week.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Steve, thank you very much for sharing that today. I am going to send this out far and wide within my network, and you can do the same. So thank you very much.
Lee, it's been a pleasure. I wish you continued success.
Thank you very much. And our guest today has been Steve Brock from Greensboro, North Carolina. I'll see you soon, Steve. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye.